Lugh is an important god of Irish mythology. A member of the Tuatha Dé Danann, Lugh is portrayed as a youthful warrior hero, a king and saviour. He is associated with skill, crafts and the arts as well as with oaths, truth and the law. He is sometimes interpreted as a sun god, a storm god or a sky god. Lugh is also strongly associated with the harvest festival of Lughnasadh, which is named after him. Lugh is known by the epithets Lamfada, possibly for his skill with the spear or sling, Ildarnic, Samildarnic, Lonbaimnak, McNea and Conmac. As to ancestry, Lugh is given the matroname Macethlena Macethnen and the patroname Maxine. He is the maternal grandson of the Fomorian, Balor, whom Lugh kills in the Battle of Magtuad. His foster father is the sea god Manannan. Lugh's son is the hero Tuatha, who is believed to be an incarnation of Lugh. Lugh has several magical possessions. He wields an unstoppable fiery spear, a slingstone, and a sword named Fragarach. He also owns a self-sailing boat named Scudchuin, a horse named Enbar, and a hound named Phaelinis. He is a reflex of the Pan-Celtic god Lugh, and his Welsh counterpart is Lleullaw, Gifts, the bright one with the strong hand. Lugh in Irish tradition. Birth: Lugh's father is Cian of the Tuatha Dé Danann, and his mother is Ethniu, daughter of Balor, of the Fomorians. In Cathmage Tuatha, the union is a dynastic marriage following an alliance between the Tuatha Dé and the Fomorians. In the Leborgabala, Erin Cian gives the boy to Tailtiu, queen of the Furby Olg, in fosterage. In the Dincentures, Lugh, the foster son of Tailtiu, is described as the son of the dumb champion. A folk tale told to John O'Donovan by Shane O'Duggan of Tory Island in 1835 recounts the birth of a grandson of Balor who grows up to kill his grandfather. The grandson is unnamed. His father is called Maxenfaieli, and the manner of his killing of Balor is different, but it has been taken as a version of the birth of Lugh, and was adapted as such by Lady Gregory. In this tale, Balor hears a druid's prophecy that he will be killed by his own grandson. To prevent this, he imprisons his only daughter in the Tormore of Tory Island, cared for by 12 women, who are to prevent her ever meeting or even learning of the existence of men. On the mainland, Maxenfaieli owns a magic cow who gives such abundant milk that everyone, including Balor, wants to possess her. While the cow is in the care of Maxenfaieli's brother Maxamthen, Balor appears in the form of a little red-haired boy and tricks him into giving him the cow. Looking for revenge, Maxenfaieli calls on a lean SUDOC called Byrog, who transports him by magic to the top of Balor's tower, where he seduces ISNI. In time she gives birth to triplets, which Balor gathers up in a sheet and sends to be drowned in a whirlpool. The messenger drowns 2 of the babies, but unwittingly drops one child into the harbor, where he is rescued by Byrog. She takes him to his father, who gives him to his brother, Gavida the smith, in fosterage. There may be further triplism associated with his birth. His father in the folk tale is one of a triad of brothers, Maxenfaieli, Gavida and Maxamthen, and his father in the medieval texts, Cian, is often mentioned together with his brothers Cu and Sethen, 2 characters called Lugh, a popular medieval Irish name thought to derive from Lugh, have 3 fathers. Lugh Riabenderg was the son of the 3 Findemara fair triplets, and Lugh Mac Conwa was also known as Mac Tricon, son of 3 hounds. In Ireland's other great sequestered maiden story, the tragedy of Deirdre, the king's intended is carried off by 3 brothers, who are hunters with hounds. The canine imagery continues with Chan's brother Cu, another Lugh Macon, and Lugh's son Cuchulainn. A 4th Lugh was Lugh Locht, a legendary king of Tara and ancestor of Lugh Macon. Lugh joins the Tuatha Dé Danann. As a young man, Lugh travels to Tara to join the court of King Nuada of the Tuatha Dé Danann. The doorkeeper will not let him in unless he has a skill with which to serve the king. He offers his services as a wright, a smith, a champion, a swordsman, a harpist, a hero, a poet and historian, a sorcerer, and a craftsman, but each time is rejected as the Tuatha Dé Danann already have someone with that skill. But when Lugh asks if they have anyone with all those skills simultaneously, the doorkeeper has to admit defeat, and Lugh joins the court and is appointed chief Olim of Ireland. He wins a flagstone throwing contest against Ogma the champion, and entertains the court with his harp. The Tuatha Dé Danann are at the time oppressed by the Fomorians, and Lugh is amazed how meekly they accept this. Nuada wonders if this young man could lead them to freedom. Lugh is given command over the Tuatha Dé Danann, and he begins making preparations for war. The Sons of Turin. When the Sons of Turin, Brian, Iuka and Iushaba kill Lugh's father, Cian, Lugh sets them a series of seemingly impossible quests as recompense. They achieve them all but are fatally wounded in completing the last one. Despite Turin's pleas, Lugh denies them the use of one of the items they have retrieved, a magic pigskin which heals all wounds. They die of the wounds and Turin dies of grief over the bodies. The Battle of Martuiriad. Using the magic artifacts the Sons of Turin have gathered, Lugh leads the Tuatha Dé Danann in the Second Battle of Martuiriad against the Fomorians. Nuada is killed in the battle by Balor. Lugh faces Balor, who opens his terrible, poisonous eye that kills all it looks upon. But Lugh shoots a sling stone that drives his eye out the back of his head, wreaking havoc on the Fomorian army behind. After the victory, Lugh finds Bres, the half-Fomorian former king of the Tuatha Dé Danann, alone and unprotected on the battlefield. Bres begs for his life. If he is spared, he promises he will ensure that the cows of Ireland always give milk. The Tuatha Dé Danann refuse the offer. He then promises 4 harvests a year, but the Tuatha Dé Danann say 1 harvest a year suits them. But Lugh spares his life on the condition that he teach the Tuatha Dé Danann how and when to plough, sow and reap. Later, life and death. Lugh instituted an event similar to the Olympic Games called the Assembly of Tailtiu, which finished on Lughnasadh in memory of his foster mother, Tailtiu, at the town that bears her name. He likewise instituted Lughnasadh fairs in the areas of Carmen and Naas in honor of Carmen and Naas, the eponymous tutelary goddess of these 2 regions. Horse races and displays of martial arts were important activities at all 3 fairs. However, Lughnasadh itself is a celebration of Lugh's triumph over the spirits of the other world who had tried to keep the harvest for themselves. It survived long into Christian times and is still celebrated under a variety of names. Lunasa is now the Irish name for the month of August. According to a poem of the Dinsenches, Lugh was responsible for the death of Bres. He made 300 wooden cows, and filled them with a bitter, poisonous red liquid which was then milked into pails and offered to Bres to drink. Bres, who was under an obligation not to refuse hospitality, drank it down without flinching, and it killed him. Lugh is said to have invented the board game Fichel. He had a dog called Phaelines. He had several wives, including Bui and Naas, daughters of Rhuadri, king of Britain. Bui lived and was buried at Noath. Naas was buried at Naas, County Kildare, which is named after her. Lugh had a son, Ibic, by Naas. His daughter or sister was Eblu, who married Fontan. One of his wives, unnamed, had an affair with Surmaid, son of the Dagda. Lugh killed him in revenge, but Surmaid's sons, Mackill, Macchecht and Macgreachtaine, killed Lugh in return, drowning him in Loch Lugh water. He had ruled for 40 years. Lugh in other cycles and traditions. In the Ulster cycle he fathered Cuchulainn with the mortal maiden Deichtine. When Cuchulainn lay wounded after a grueling series of combats during the Táin Bó Cúailnge, Lugh appeared and healed his wounds over a period of 3 days. In Béal in Scale, a story of the historical cycle, Lugh appeared in a vision to Conn of the 100 Battles. Enthroned on a dais, he directed a beautiful woman called the Sovereignty of Ireland to serve Conn a portion of meat and a cup of red ale, richly confirming his right to rule and a dynasty that would follow him. In the Fenian cycle, the dwarf harper Cnu Derrioil claimed to be Lugh's son. The Luin, a people who inhabited counties Meath and Sligard, claimed descent from him. Ainle is listed as the son of Lugh Longhand and is killed by Cernan the Blacklegged in the Rendin censures. Lugh's possessions. Lugh possessed a number of magical items, retrieved by the Sons of Turin in Middle Irish redactions of the Liborga Bala. Not all the items are listed here. The late narrative Fate of the Children of Turin not only gives a list of items gathered for Lugh, but also endows him with such gifts from the sea god Manannan as the sword Fragarach, the horse Enbar, the boat Scudtuin, Suabatuin, his armor and helmet. Lugh's spear. The lore around Lugh's spear is traced as follows: 4 treasures. Spear of Lugh. Lugh's spear, according to the text of the 4 jewels of the Tuatha Dé Danann, was said to be impossible to overcome. Taken to Ireland from Goria's Sale. Lugh obtained the spear of Asal as fine imposed on the children of Tuatha, according to the short account in Liborga Bala Éireann, which adds that the incantation Abar made the cast always hit its mark, and Athibar caused the spear to return. A redba. In a full narrative version called Oidhe Clointuran, from copies no earlier than the 18th century, Lugh demands the spear named a red bear or a red bear which belonged to Pizia, king of Persia. Its tip had to be kept immersed in a pot of water to keep it from igniting, a property similar to the Lewin of Seltshire. This spear is also called slaughter in translation. Finest yew of the wood. There is yet another name that Lugh's spear goes by, a tree, the finest of the wood, occurring in an inserted verse within the Fate of the Children of Turin. The famous yew of the wood is also the name that Lugh's spear is given in a tract which alleges that it, the Lewin of Seltshire, and the spear Crimald that blinded Cormac Mac Airt were one and the same weapon. Col. 723, discussed in the Lewin page. Sling stone. Lugh used the sling stone to slay his grandfather, Balor the Strong's mitre in the Battle of Martwood, according to the brief accounts in the Liborga Bala Éireann. The narrative Cath Mage Tuad, preserved in a unique 16th century copy. Words it slightly different, saying that Lugh used the sling stone to destroy the evil eye of Balor of the piercing eye. Tathalim. A certain poem recorded by O'Curry in English translation says that the missile fired by Lugh was a Tathalim cement. Nature myth items. Lugh's projectile weapon, whether a dart or missile, was envisioned by symbolic of lightning weapon TF. O'Rahilly. Lugh's sling rod, named Lugh's chain, was the rainbow and the Milky Way. Unlike the rod sling, Lugh had no need to wield the spear himself. It was alive and thirsted so for blood that only by steeping its head in a sleeping draught of pounded fresh poppy seeds could it be kept at rest. When battle was near, it was drawn out. Then it roared and struggled against its thongs. Fire flashed from it, and it tore through the ranks of the enemy. One slipped from the leash, never tired of slaying. Fragarach. Lugh is also seen girt with the Friagarthach, the Sword of Manannan, in the assembly of the Tuatha Dé Danann in the Fate of the Children of Turin. Lugh's horse and magic boat. Lugh had a horse named Envar which could fare over both land and sea. Like much of his equipment, it was furnished to him by the sea god Manannan mac Elia. When the children of Turin asked to borrow this horse, Lugh begrudged them, saying it would not be proper to make a loan of a loan. Consequently, Lugh was unable to refuse the request to use Lugh's carrick boat, the wave sweeper. In the Laborga Bala, Gainer and Rai were the names of the pair of horses belonging to the king of the Isle of Sicily, which Lugh demanded as Eric from the sons of Tuatha Dé Danann. Lugh's hound Phaelines was the name of the whelp of the king of VIAF that Lugh demanded as Eric in the Oedhyd Cloentwrn. This concurs with the name of the hound mentioned in an Ossianic ballad, sometimes referred to by its opening line, Dam thria tancat Ariel. In the ballad the hound is called Alinus of Phaelines, and belonged to a threesome from Aruaid whom the Fianna encounter. It is described as the ancient greyhound that had been with Lugh of the mantles, given him by the sons of Turin by Corin, that hound of mightiest deeds, which was irresistible in hardness of combat, was better than wealth ever known, a ball of fire every night. Other virtues had that beautiful hound meader wine would grow of it, should it bathe in spring water. O'Carry's excerpt ends here, but the subsequent verse runs, the three full-fledged heroes are called Tuatha Dé Danann and Omnan. The dog of the fairest figure, Phaelines, was brought to Finn. These threesome also appear in a Callum Narsain Auric, though in that work the wonder dog is called Fermac. Lugh's name and nature. Lugh's name has been interpreted as deriving from the Proto-Indo-European root *Lugh, flashing light, and he is often surrounded by solar imagery. So from Victorian times he has often been considered a sun god, similar to the Greco-Roman Apollo, though historically he is only ever equated with Mercury. He appears in folklore as a trickster, and in County Mayo thunderstorms were referred to as battles between Lugh and Balor, so he is sometimes considered a storm god. Alexei Kondrashov notes his epithet Lonbiumnek and concludes that, if his name has any relation to light, it more properly means lightning flash. However, Breton and Cornish are Brythonic languages in which Proto-Celtic *K did undergo systematic sound changes into GH and CH. Words containing Lu, as in the word Lugh itself, or Lola, have appeared for millennia, always meaning light of sun, a sun god. Lu Napaleunas, Haranaplu, Etruscanapilu, Homeric Greek, Piomicron lambda omega nu, that is lambda omega, Latin Apollo. The former Palaeunas is attested as a god of Wilusa in a treaty between Alaksandu of Wilusa, interpreted as Alexander of Ilios, and the Hittite great king Muwatalai II California. 1280 BC. Luwon is closely related to Hittite, and was among the languages spoken during the 2nd and 1st millennia BC by population groups in central Anatolia. Anatolia of Diomedes, given to him by Athena in the Trojan War, were said to be preserved in her temple. The Lusitanians were an Indo-European people living in the western Iberian Peninsula. Endo-Velica was the most important god. Antonio da Visite Sao Frei classified the name of Endo-Velicus as a mixed Celtic and Phoenician name, adapted to the Roman language. The end radical would be from Celtic languages, bel would be Phoenician for lord, and cus is a usual word termination in Latin. The name would suggest bel, or vel. The god Belinus was a deity worshipped in Gaul, Britain, and Celtic areas of Austria and Spain. In the Roman period, Belenus was identified with Apollo. Belisama has been claimed to be the consort of Belenus, and she was identified with Minerva, Athena. It would seem that the word Lugh is related to every Indo-European language word meaning light. Lugh's mastery of all arts has led many to link him with the unnamed Gaulish god. Julius Caesar identifies with Mercury, whom he describes as the inventor of all the arts. Caesar describes the Gaulish Mercury as the most revered deity in Gaul, overseeing journeys and business transactions. Juliet Wood interprets Lugh's name as deriving from the Celtic root *Lugios, oath, and the Irish word Lugh connotes ideas of blasphemy, cussing, lies, bond, joined, binding oath, which strengthens the identification with Mercury, who was, among other attributes, a god of contracts. It is also worth noting that parallels exist between the Irish Lugh, Gaulish Lugus, German Wotan, the English Woden, and Norse Odin. Odin was worshipped by the Norse as a god of war among other things, including poetry and the arts. Odin may have replaced Tyr as god of war among North Germanic peoples. As such, it may be that Lugh was also worshipped as a god of war by the Irish. On that note, it is worth noting that the ultimate Irish warrior hero Cuchulainn is cited as the son of Lugh.